Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it takes me out of the present. New moon, waxing, full moon, waning, crescent. Life cycles, teammates or rivals. Soul search, dangerous, World War III, the goal's always survival. That's nature, day you're born when you meet your maker. Tears start chasing paper, burning trees or melting glaciers. But truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it's impossible to process, so I stay focused on my progress.
So this will be the final episode of the year from us. We're taking a break over the Christmas period. So this game week, what we'll do is we'll touch the festive period in general. So there's a good couple of games and games are coming thick and fast. But like I say, we will be taking a break because we have a life and we do have families that we need to take care of, etc. And we'll be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the second game week of the new year, game week 21. But in the meantime, I think we'll get something out which gives you kind of a wrap up to how things have been for the podcast this year. A few best bits, a few behind the scenes, etc. And who knows, a few rows. But we'll see. Well. Game week 17 is done. We're back here for a bit more fun. Gave us a lot of card for us to chew over. Newcastle, Chelsea. Both can score, but neither can keep a shutout. Can't keep that door shut. Defenders watched, owners wept. Everyone nodded knowingly. We did say last week that it was going to be a game that was a bit up and down, and it would be hard for us to tell who was going to win. Sunderland, meanwhile, they continued quietly ruining everybody's thought process of what a newly promoted team does. Like, they get the job done. It's not lucky anymore. It's just their structure. And then when we look at other things, talking of newly promoted teams or teams that are soon to be relegated, we have Wolves. Target them. It's Christmas. We all need a present. Liverpool won again. Isak played up to his meme. I know, it's bad. It's bad, but he did. And when it comes down to it, Leeds detonated the template. We've got a seismic shift and a new bandwagon that everybody's probably going to jump onto for 2026. And when it was all said and done, I'm in the middle. So, Mandem, how we doing? Thoughts, as you was last?
Yeah, it was a bad week for me. I decided to do that one move that I mentioned I would do, which is Bruno in. And as you know, he came off after the first half. So that was a waste of a transfer, especially when I used all 5 of mine. Overall, the week hasn't been too bad. But obviously last place in this, Red Arrow. So not much more to say, really. I need to come back stronger after the Christmas period.
Okay. If you,
I see Guffs overly smiling. Wait.
No, but
I see everyone's overly
smiling. Are you turning to religion? You look like you gone for some confessional or you become the Sith Lord. Like, which one is it?
Loves Sith Lord, innit? Now, I've got the headphones under the hoodie, as you can see. Get me? I didn't charge up my team, and it was just like, time for reflection and that, innit? So,
fair play. You know. So, Guffmeister.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Listen, I'm not happy I'm not in the middle. I was very close to being in your spot, but well done to you. Congratulations. But look, beyond
Sorry, I was rude. Sorry, Guffs, I was rude. That little battle down there, it's looking, the battle between you two
is keep talking. Down there will soon be up there. So let's keep talking.
That battle,
I mean,
like, I'm watching it.
Cool. But well done. You made it happen. So I was quietly thinking, come on, man, one more thing from Rodgers to get me this over the line, but it didn't happen. But listen, end of the day, I had a good game week. You know, to get into the mid 80s is a good sign for me. I think that the biggest issue I've had is just terms of just being in a wrong structure, the wrong team, and I think I've probably on the right sort of structure now. So hopefully I can kind of get some momentum going forward. So I'm fairly happy at this point in terms of where I am in my team. But yeah, like I'll talk more about it later on. But a decent game week.
Yeah, I was going to say actually, it's a nice segue. Let's talk about teams. Let's go into the usual review. Potts, what's your thoughts on your team? Where was your winner? Where was your loser?
Bruno, we'll start there. Obviously, Bruno flopped me. I see the form he was in. I see they had some good fixtures coming up. Targeting fixtures. Wasn't about money this for once because he had gone up already. But I bought him in. I think he was 9-3 and got him out at 9-3. So he's out of my team, obviously.
Right, that's it.
The injury happened. Half time, I was like, "Whoops, you're gone." I know he's not coming back because he don't get injured. But just
Half time.
Yeah, he got injured at half time. From then, I started looking at who I'm going to put in and what I'm going to do.
Do you know what was interesting was the injury that they're saying that he's got? Like, I don't know. It's like he's not human because he got up and he was running around and still shooting.
No, but he was still looking and he was still signaling like, "All right, I'm going to try to last this out." But a couple of times he was like, he was doing them ones like, it's time.
Mm.
I think their manager was just more like, just corner. You get me? Half time soon come, run it off, bad man. But like,
he done an old school Arteta, yeah? Like just fling man back on the pitch.
That's it. You know what I mean? But yeah, Rice stepped up for me. He's been in my team for a while, so I've been waiting for something. He did something. But overall, look, I'm third for a reason. I think what did I get? 60s or something like that, in the 60s, I think. Only because of Haaland, obviously. Like I said to everyone, you have to go with Haaland because if he bangs off, you're going to want to have that triple captain covered. So, yeah, I move forward, keep moving. But what I would say is all the people overexcited. Haaland did this in the game week when I did triple captain. He got the exact same points, did the exact same thing. So it's the two best times to use him out of the opportunities when it was the right time. So, it was expected that it's gonna work for someone else too.
Yeah, hear that. Although I was very, very upset. Guffs is in the same situation as me. Done the same thing for Leeds at home. Like, the guy didn't even have a shot.
Yeah.
It still upsets me.
That's a difference maker, isn't it? At the right time. Yeah.
Big star. And that's the game, right? The game's not really, like, people look at it and think about it and say, oh, it's luck and it's skill and stuff like that. A lot of the time it's just about timing and pivoting at the right
Trust
time.
me.
But anyway, Guffs.
Yeah, I mean, to follow on from Hotz's point, for me, this game was about neutralizing the triple captain threat that was out there, right? There was lots of people that playing that chip. So for me to come out of the game week on similar points to those playing that chip was a big win for me. Lots of people that play triple captains are in the mid-80s and sort of maybe 90 points. So given that they got a 16-point head start on me, and for me to sort of be thereabouts, I think is a major sort of win in terms of neutralizing that threat this game week. But like I said before, I've had a good game week. To get mid-80s, I think Rodgers has been the major force for me in the last 2 game weeks. I've had him, and not a lot of people have him, which is surprising actually. But he's been the sort of the outlier for me in the last few game weeks, and I do wonder going forward if people will now start to sort of upload on Rodgers, and if that differential will still be the case going into the next few game weeks. But at the moment, things are quite good. I was unhappy with my midfield over outside of Rodgers. I didn't really get much points. Most of my points came from the offense and defense. And Kelleher was a great bonus. He saved the penalty in sort of the last minutes of the game, getting 13 points. That was a really big boost for me as well. So yeah, it was a good game week, and it's just about kind of stringing together 3 or 4 green arrows to climb that table. That's the aim now, right?
And you had him as a keeper.
Yeah, so it's just Kelleher was one of those ones where I needed to sort of like make the balance work, and I needed a sort of a cheaper kind of goalkeeper, and Brentford had a batch of good games, and I thought, why not? He's a keeper that's doing fairly well, and the penalty save was a massive bonus. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the game is going, but I've got a lot of ground to make up, and I now need to kind of keep it going. I need to string together more green arrows going forward.
Yeah, no, I hear that. As for me, in terms of assessing the game week, my one structural win was Gordon, or John McEnroe as I like to call him. He basically did what we discussed. I did say it was really dependent on the right back that he ended up facing. If it was Gutso, then say his name? Gusto, whatever it is. I felt that he would have a better game against him than he would against James, for instance. Obviously, it worked out like that. So from that point of view, it was a good win. The fact that he was a differential at that point, he will probably not be a differential going forwards as people look to move away from what they've done with Bruno. And they've got some decent fixtures coming up. A structural concern for me was Thiago. I wasn't like a lot of the online chatter that was saying that, oh, he's not going to play and so on. For me, if you listen to his manager just kept on talking about the fact that he'd had a bruise and he missed one match. So I thought that, yeah, he would make it. However, because of that, I kind of held on to that rather than the actual data that supports him. So I thought, well, everybody else is going to take him out, so I'll leave him in. But the reality is he just kept up with the data that he's had over the past couple of game weeks where he's hardly getting into a position of shooting. I think we touched on it before that without the guy that has gone to AFCON, he's now not getting the opportunities that he was getting previously. And all his penalties have run out, right? Nobody's winning them for him anymore. So that was a loss for me per se. Because, for instance, if I had dropped him and brought James in, that would have been a 5-point plus for me. But all that said, I can't really be too disappointed with what happened. I think it was my highest score of this season so far. So either way, whether I'd finished in the middle or I'd been second, that would have been comfortable with the scores that we got to. But yeah, and so that's where we are really.
To the Thiago point, like I think for him, it's an interesting one, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later on in the show. But you know, he has sort of been struggling in the last few game weeks. But you know, Brentford have got 3 home games coming up, and it's 4. You know, and it's like with no Ouattara, they haven't got that rotation ready to come in. So it'd be interesting to sort of see how this plays out. But it's 2 game weeks, whether he will kind of come back or whether or not he will still continue that form. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
All right. I guess it's time for us just to review against where we were last week with our predictions on the big game, which was Newcastle v Chelsea. How did you guys see it after you watched it?
Yeah, go on. So you come in first, man, because right on your chin.
You know, you like to just take the lead and go, so it's up to you, bro. Whatever. It's like what we thought. It'll be a tough game for both teams. You know, Newcastle at home, Chelsea ain't no mugs. Tool, suppose, fair as all. To be completely honest, I didn't get to watch the game fully, so I need to see the goals. Pedro got his little goal, so he's got a bit of goal scoring form back. If you want to say, looks like is he someone that could come back into the teams, but not on fixtures. Yeah. Long story short, it was what I expected. Nothing more than a 1-0 gap or a draw. It was a score draw. So, yeah.
Yep. The classic Desmond. What did you think, Guffs?
Yeah, I think you were the one that said the draw, right? I think I said 2-1, one win, Hots went the other way. But like, yeah, I think we were all pretty much on the money in terms of we all thought it was a close game, as Hot said. I wasn't surprised with what I saw. You know, Newcastle at home, the crowd behind them. You know what kind of game they're going to bring, right? They're going to bring it rough and tumble. They're going to try and put it on the opposing team. That's what they do, right? I think looking forward beyond this game, you know, I think Newcastle, okay, we know how they play football, but they've got to hold the ball longer, right? And I think it's a problem for them that they can't hold on to the ball. This whole like quick transition sort of football is hurting them, and defensively they don't quite seem like they have the same stability they had last year.
I think to your point as well, you know, you were saying about when they start, we know what Newcastle are about, and so to an extent, I think like they play with too much passion sometimes.
Yeah,
because you could almost see that they were gassed out by the second half. Like what they did when they started was crazy, and it was a gut punch for everybody because many people took Voltamade out and replaced with either Ekatike or somebody else. Then he scores a double. But
many people, you know.
Yeah, many people did. I did, but we knew that. Like, see, the thing is, for me, like I was comfortable that I'm taking him out, and whatever he does, I'm going to be good with it. Because sometimes you get to it. That's how I got to with Gyökeres. Like I kept the faith with him for X amount of time, but I was like, you know what? Like, regardless of what I want you to do as an individual, like FPL wise, you're not bringing me the points. Like I've got to cut this. And that's kind of where I got to with Ultimate. I mean, he took all of his goals well.
That's always the way, isn't it? You take them out, then they score. That's classic.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was laughing at you when he scored 2 goals, and even though ultimately got most game points, actually, like once the dust sort of settled, I think Ekitike is the move anyway because for obvious reasons. But to your point though, like I think I said in our chat, like Newcastle need another goal here because the way they were playing, it's not sustainable, and they gassed out. And Chelsea didn't play great. Like Chelsea took their chances well, I guess. But it's interesting one Newcastle. I think they're going to be an up and down team all season, and they're going to be one of those teams that could be very hard to predict going forward.
I think it also there was a lot of impacts for FPL really. Like Gordon again didn't play a full game, which is frustrating, especially with how he was playing. Like when the first 20 minutes of that game, like I genuinely thought, he's gonna get a goal as well as all of the assists, etc. But obviously he powered out. He's clearly Hal's preference. Hal likes to play him or to start him, but he's embarrassed with riches, I guess. I mean, he's got Barnes on the bench. Like, it still amuses me that Murphy manages to get on the pitch before Elanga and things like this. Like, I just don't understand that move. It's weird.
I do. I think Murphy's a much more effective winger. Elanga might be quicker and might seem better. But
no,
Murphy
I just don't want that.
Does bits.
I just don't understand why they spent 60 million on Elanga.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know what the point was. But what was also good was Wissa came on. So he's clearly building his sharpness, etc. He's one of those ones you'll remember ages ago I talked about. He's one to kind of look for. But then he's been injured for so long. Palmer had a quiet game again. His usual quiet game in a big fixture, especially away from home. And you could see that his minutes are going to be managed. So it's difficult. I know that, I know there was a price rise, etc. for him. But, when you see the price rises sometimes, you look at it and you'd be like, this must be because they just gave out the free 5 transfers. Because there's no data, there's nothing to support, go and get this guy in the droves because he's not playing enough minutes for that yet. So the same argument that people have with, should we have Saka because he's like 10.3 or whatever not, and we're not getting enough returns for it. It's like, well, what would make you feel that 10.4 for Palmer right now is the right thing to do until he builds up his minutes and he's sharp again?
Let me ask you a question now, yeah? Who's the best asset for Chelsea right now?
Their best asset for me is Neto. Like Neto is the one that has got data that supports him, and even that, they remind me of Arsenal in that everything is spread. They don't have one person that is going out there and is banging for them all of the time, etc. And but that's a good point as well, because one of the things that I took from the game as well was Chelsea got a problem in their midfield because they've got Casado back. What did they do? We spoke about it last week. Do you move James back to right back so that you've got Casado playing? Because Enzo was on the bench, right? And he's got to try and do whatever he can to fit Palmer in and so on. So it'd be an interesting one going forwards, but it's particularly interesting over the next couple of weeks over this festive period because we know the games come thick and fast. So you sort of
Maresca's a new Pep, Mav. Do you mean?
Let me answer that.
He is. Go on, Hutz.
Sanchez. I think Sanchez is the best player for Chelsea. Chalobah was a candidate when you said it immediately. But for me, Sanchez is, I think he's gone up, so it's 4.9. I think he's for the value and for what he'll bring. I reckon I don't know because I ain't got him. I'd guess that he's got more points than Neto. I think Chalobah is probably their highest scoring player potentially, but he's 5.
Yeah, defender wise,
he's 5. He's actually one of the top defenders, but he's 5 something. So with Sanchez,
I think he's only. He's only not returned 3 times in the entire season.
Yeah.
Like he either returns DEFCON, has a clean sheet, or he scores.
Yeah.
Or assists.
So I think
like,
he's
he has been very good.
Maybe the third highest defender or something like that. But equally, Sanchez is top 4 goalkeepers. Less points than Chalobah, but I just think for the money, he's good value. It's someone on my watch list, but I don't like the fixtures right now.
Chalobah is actually the highest scoring defender as it stands, 94 points.
Okay.
He's the highest as it stands.
Yeah, no, I really do think Chelsea's midfield is going to be interesting because, as you just said, obviously Maresca is like channeling his Ino Ranieri. Then you've got the fact that the games are coming up so quick. So duty bound, he will rotate. We've seen he's comfortable rotating.
Who's yours, Guffs? Because you asked the question.
Do you know? I don't know, and that's why I asked the question because it's a tough one. Like I look at Chelsea right now, and I would have said Enzo a few weeks ago, but I think that he's on the bench game week. Does that mean that he'll probably play Enzo next game and bench Palmer because Palmer played a few games now? You're trying to manage him.
I don't know how you came to that conclusion for FPL.
But no, I'm just saying. A few weeks ago, I would have said
underlying
him,
numbers. He just doesn't. There's no output. Like it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's a funny. I mean, James is got to be up there, but is he going to play every game? I don't know. I would still say João Pedro is, although he's not convincing, is still probably one of the best assets because he doesn't play, right?
Sure. It's like you're just saying a lot of names.
Yeah, I'm saying a lot of names. Like I can't land on one. Do you mean? I don't know.
To just don't know. Like I've given Sanchez, Art gave Neto. You don't know. Let's get off these.
Speaking about not knowing, this week there's a lot of candidates for Doughnut of the week, and I don't know who was. So, what are you saying, Hots?
Candidates wise, Simmons was the first person I thought, why did you do that challenge? But then in that same game, there was a few people that I could have picked as donuts.
Yep.
The Liverpool defence, even though I got Van Dijk, and I've clearly said from the beginning of the season that Van Dijk is deteriorating. I've got him in my team, unfortunately, and I can't take him out now when they've got Wolves, and then was it Leeds after? So it's like I'm stuck with him. But them two and their centre back pairing, it's awful. You see Canute with him looking at the ref, and you could see that the ref saw that he got fouled by Romero. So when he saw that the ref was looking at him, he was like, "Oh, ding 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 ding," and his guitar and his air guitar, exactly. But talking about the foul being by Romero is the donut of the week. Man got a yellow card for some idiot challenge, but he's gone up to the ref, barged into the ref to complain like his innocence. And the ref gave him a yellow because of that. And then,
do you think he should have got a red for that?
No,
because other refs have lost their mind the moment they've been touched, and they will send them off.
It wasn't a real barge. To me, it wasn't a real barge. Like when someone goes up to you, but they go into you, but they don't go in. It doesn't go into him enough for it to be a barge where the ref gets moved. It was just like he was trying to go up to the ref, but he's just gone up to him and he's gently collided. Do you get it? So to me, it wasn't a mega barge, but it was said as it was a barge. So he got a yellow card. I thought, dickhead, what? You might have got a yellow card if you didn't moan and just accepted it. Do you know them ones? But then obviously
to that point though, cool. I think with players like him, like he's one of those players that moaned a lot, right, and quite volatile and angry on a pitch. We forget sometimes that referees are human beings, right, and like when they get a player they don't really like, any excuse to give them a yellow card, shut up, take a yellow card. You know what I mean? And he's one of those players that might irritate referees. So, but someone else might not have got a yellow card, but because of his character and how he is in games,
well, he got a yellow card because he done a dumb move. And then when he did the dumb move and the ref blew the whistle, he's gone up to the ref moaning, and the ref said to go away, and he's carried on coming to the ref and went into the ref. So it's a yellow card, right? It's nothing to do if he likes it or not. But back to the donut of the week. So then he goes, because otherwise I'm going to forget where I was. But then they go 2-0 down. You get back in it. You're 2-1. You're 2-1 down with 10 men. you're thinking, wow, you lot onto them. You actually, back in this game. And then, you know what he did on Canute. Then he wants to argue it out. Like, why did you need to kick out? I get it, you're on the floor, you didn't like the way he went on top of you and all of that sort of stuff. But the kick out was bait. The ref has seen it. You've been nabbed. Then you don't want to go off the pitch. You want to argue and you've got all these men holding you back. It's just the same idiot sort of pattern of people that can't accept when they've done wrong. And again, it's not because the ref doesn't like him, even though we might not rate him as a player or like his ways and like his attitude. The ref was right to give him 2 yellow cards. And when your team is now putting the pressure on Liverpool to get back into the game, and you decide to do that, to me, that makes you the biggest donut this week. So that's why he's my donut of the week.
Special mention for Richard as well. Like trying to aggy up my man on the floor when he scored the goal.
Guy. I can't stand. I would have fly kicked him in his back. I would have fly kicked him in his back. Even that, I don't like him. I've said it before on the show. I just can't stand him. Yeah. This ain't the Brazilian slums, bro. This ain't City of God. You're in the UK. It's not that. Don't like him. Like, and even look, after he's done it, he grips man's neck up when he was getting up, like buoyed him off. Then Slobosly tried to say something and he stopped his run like, what, you want it as well? Oh, bros, allow me. Can't stand Richards. But, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, a lot to chew over from an FPL standpoint for that, and also the donut. Because the thing is as well, with Romero, it's just he's got that South American rush of blood, right? And once that happens, like he's just not in the game. So it's quite funny because you see the difference in terms of the way a manager will handle a player. So obviously we saw in the same game, Frimpong lost his head. Slot took him off. Romero loses his head. He's a captain as well. He needs to behave himself.
That's why he's the donut. But I have to say one thing now, you've mentioned it. Frimpong could have slightly been my donut of the week if there wasn't loads of other things going on. Because my man was on a big baby thing. I know he looks like a little baby because he's short and everything, because when I see the end of the game and he was standing next to the players, I was like, I didn't realise man was that short. It was ridiculous. But my point was, the way he was going on after the game when they were going to go to the fans and everything, the Katika's trying to walk to the fans and he's like tapping him on the shoulder like, my lip. Bruvs, it was bleeding time ago. You've been off the pitch, your lip's not bleeding no more. You don't have to show no one. We know your lip got bust. It's cool. But he was still trying to force it. And throughout the game, he kept on going on about it. But there was bigger donuts to be in that position of donut. But yeah, Romero's the one.
Okay, so time for us to talk about future plans and see where everybody's head is at for this festive period. So we'll start with you again, Hots, as you're not in your usual position. Please, go ahead. What are you looking to do? What's your strategy for the next couple of game weeks?
I mentioned it, don't know if it was the last episode of social, but even though we had the 5 transfers, I feel I've got that little itch to bring hardcore Hots back. And it's like, I can just see minuses weekly. Every time I've gone against not doing a minus, trying to be safe, if I just did it, I would have got the points I wanted. The week before, when I had 5 free transfers, I did 6, got the green arrow. This week, I tried to play it safe, put in Fernandez.
What you're saying is this podcast is in the way of you behaving as normal, yeah?
Yeah, I understand. So expect minuses this week, and then probably minuses the following week, depending on what happens. So yeah, that's going to be my approach over the next few game weeks.
Are there particular areas within your team that you're thinking now that's what I need to take care of?
You know what it is? There's just players I want, and Ekatike is one of the guys I wanted. They got good fixtures. Liverpool players in the whole, except for the defence. I've already got one, unfortunately. Rodgers has annoyed me because I've wanted him in my team, and now the fixtures are very tough with Chelsea and Arsenal. So it's like, this guy is in form, And I wanted to do it this week, but I thought I'm not doing it when he's got Chelsea and Arsenal. But he looks like he's, I don't want to say unstoppable, but he's been consistent all season, and he just looks like someone that it doesn't matter who's playing. But I still don't want to put him in. And then he's got tough fixtures, but sometimes you've got to bite the bullets as decision making. There's a few other players that put questions over. But it's interesting with the injuries, who's available from the teams that got injuries. Cunha is going to be a main man. Now, Fernandez is out. Sure, he's going to take penalties. So there's a few candidates, but just
What are your thoughts on Cunha there? Like the fact that he's going to be the main man, but then United got so many injuries and so many AFCON departures. Like, is that going to make a difference? Even for me, like when everybody got excited about the goal that he scored, and I was thinking, oh, like maybe he was bossing the game. Like, but the goal was like, it's not like he did some magic and he scored that goal.
I think he will have a little run. I think if you see the pattern of everyone, not to keep repeating what I said before, but if you see, we were talking about defensive contributions, and I was saying the midfielders and strikers, once they start coming good, the points that they're going to make is going to just catch up to the defenders. That's what's happening at the moment. You've got people like Ekatike doing it, Bruno's done it. I'm not saying that Cunha will do it, but Cunha's capable of goals. And even if Man U are getting beaten, I can see him getting a goal. He's going to be their main player. They go to everything. So I can see him getting a few goals to answer the question. So yeah, I'm not saying he'll do what other players are doing, but I think there's going to be a few dark horses. Like, I'm not putting Gyökeres in my team, but I think he's going to start getting a few goals as well, personally. Saka hasn't really been doing much, and people are taking him out to make way for other players. And I think he will start as well. So there's a few people that's underperforming that will come alive in this Christmas period too. The only difference is with Saka, we don't know if there's going to be a rotation or not. So that's the part where it's more risky. Whereas with Cunha, who's you rotating with? So, yeah. Bowen's another one that everyone's been talking about, and I looked at. It's got good fixtures, a long-term run of good fixtures, but I'm not convinced of West Ham. Now, he'll probably score this week. So I'm not saying that they're playing Fulham. I'm not saying that it's...
Yeah, he does always seem to get a chance.
Yeah.
It's just...
whether he takes
he doesn't always...
But he's a good player, and he's another one like Cunha. You're a good player in a team that I don't think is going to do amazing stuff, but you can get a goal. So, yeah. But yeah, long story short, expect minuses over this period.
Fair enough. That is your approach. You are aggressive. So
well, I'm not gonna lie. We've had our what's it called? Our little shuffle of hosts over the last few weeks. Like, Guffs got his little 2 in a row where I hosted, but he got the 2 points on the board. Then you've gone there. Like, hold on a minute. Like, when am I going to be back in the middle? Like, I don't like being on the left or the right. You know what I'm trying to say? So hopefully by Christmas periods are out of the way, hopefully it's me back in the middle. And I've also clocked something. I mentioned double figures when Guffs got to double figures of losses, and I was on 9. I was on 8 or 9, and I was like, I've not hit double figures yet because you man are trying it. You're trying to not let me get to double figures. So like, where you man ain't trying to let me get to double figures, I need to host one, or at least host one more time over the Christmas period, have one more win to get to double figures. So you man better start behaving, you get me? Let me get my double figures.
Oh, behaving. Big time. Gus, what's your thought process for the festive period? What's your plan?
Yeah, it's similar to Hots's. The difference is that I've already done my changes, and I've already taken the hardcore, to coin the phrase, approach already. So minuses are banked, it's done. And for me, like, I'm taking the approach where I'm just going to try to be ultra aggressive still. There's no point resting on my laurels right now. I think a lot of people will start to sort of migrate to some of the assets I have, like Rodgers, and I want to maintain that kind of like differential because I need it to catch up. I think Ekatike seems to be a logical move, which, well, say logical because he's going to play, right. His minutes have been sort of up and down because there's been rotation for Liverpool, but they have no other options now. I mean, Chiesa's there, of course, but Chiesa's not really a threat to him. So I think Ekitike with the games, they got Wolves, Leeds, and Burnley at home over the next 5 games. So it just seems logical to have Ekitike at this point, and his price is going up. To the point of Cunha, I think that Cunha done lots of stuff at Wolves, right? And arguably a worse team than Man United got right now available to him. So I think Cunha likes to be a talisman. I think that's where he thrives. He likes to sort of have that responsibility where he's the main guy and things go through him. I think that's kind of his game. I think certain players like to be that person. They like to be the main guy, and I think that he will do damage. Yes, obviously he got an issue with creativity. Bruno is the guy that feeds usually, but Man United, even without Bruno in the second half, were creating chances against Villa. And they lost the game, Man United, but they still looked okay, So I think Cunha is a very good asset, especially at his price point. I'll also point to like Wirtz. I think Wirtz is another interesting one to look at because, look, his stats are his stats, right? He's been absolutely atrocious this season for Liverpool, but Szoboszlai is out for the next game.
Joined by Slick Rick. What's going on?
I was about to drop some bars,
Yeah.
But I said, let me not do the vocals. I'm not Guffs.
From Mary Clarence to Slick Rick in one quick move. But I think Wirtz is an interesting one because he's going to have the freedom now to sort of operate in the areas that he wants to operate in. And they've got good games. And if there's one time to give him a go, it probably will be now, right? My only issue with Wirtz is that his price point is still quite high. He's £8.8 million, which is a lot of money considering what he's done so far, but he's worth a look at.
Thing is, he was doing some good things in that game, though. Like he was taking Porro for a ride.
Look.
Like there were a couple of times where he accelerated against him, and you're like, "Oh, okay, you're adjusting to the league now."
Well, this is what I'm trying to say. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to start adjusting. I mentioned Gyökeres, and Wirtz is another one.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that Wirtz looked good in the last couple. He ain't done nothing yet, and that's when it's the best time to get them in. It's sort of like you did with Rodgers, to be fair to you guys. You got him in just at the right time, and then it's like, is he going to continue? And then when he does, it's nice. With Wirtz, he'll be someone, for me, that if you put him in and it works, then you're laughing. And then when it comes to taking him out, it's still going to be a problem.
Do you know what it is for me? Yeah, it's because there's such quick turnaround. I'm looking at players who are going to play every game, right? And to the point you made of Saka, right? Saka, I can only imagine his minutes are going to be compromised with Madueke. And I want players who, for the next 3 or 4 game weeks, when there's like game of 3 days, are going to play because they have to play. So that's why I'm very much in the camp of the Wirtzes and the Cunhas and the Ekitikes, because they're going to play the games. And I think that's really important during this period. So, another one to look at, I think the person that obviously you mentioned at the start of the show, Ark, is obviously Calvert-Lewin. He's the one that's been slept on. And even today, I'm looking at his numbers. His numbers are still not super high in terms of ownership, but you can't ignore someone who scored, I think, 5 games in a row now. And he's picked up, so he's still fairly cheap. He's a good sort of third option up front. You're looking at him versus a Thiago. You have to say Calvert-Lewin is probably more favourable right now than if you want to pivot from Thiago at that similar price point. So he's another one. But I've taken minuses already. I've gone in because I thought, but do I take like a look at -4 this week and then do numbers next week, or should I be somewhat more conservative? But I thought, let me just go hard now and get who I want in now, so I can have my players set and they can just benefit for the next few game weeks going forward. So that's what I've just done. I've taken a -8 and got the players in that I wanted to.
You did a -8, yeah?
Yes.
That is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I'm slightly different, but it's because, as you know, I've got 1 chip to play. So I've always had the strategy that I need to build my bench. The issue that I've got is I've got 2 on my bench at the moment that are a big problem for me minutes-wise. So I've got Malin. Nah, can't do that. He kind of puts paid to the actual bench fees. And in reality, as much as I've taken a mickey out of Hots for this like Del Boy scenario that he's got around money. He's come back to bite me because there's certain moves I can't make now. Because I wasn't looking out from a money perspective from the beginning of the game. So I'm going to have to get a bit technical and interesting with where I go to next. But for me, I guess the festive period is an interesting one because sometimes rolling your transfers is actually better than doing minuses because of the rotation risk. There will be a lot of rotations depending on where you go. And because I've still got the bench boost to play, I'm kind of stuck. I've got to do it within the next 2 weeks, where it be 18 or 19. So where do you take a minus? And will the minus benefit you type thing? So in reality, squad depth is more to me at the moment than anything else. So I need that availability. I need that minutes, but I can't necessarily go and buy big for that.
Can I ask a question about your bench boost? Yes. Like, because obviously the bench boost situation, would you rather like keep your players you want to have in your team, right? And sacrifice having a slightly weaker bench and just use your bench boost and hoping the bench just licks off and gets something from you? Or would you kind of like compromise on some players you want in your first team and strengthen your bench in the hope your bench can lick off? Because, you know, the bench boost you've got right now is kind of a gift and a curse, right? You kind of feel like I have to play and I have to make the most of it. But by doing that, you might be having to sort of like dumb down some of your higher assets in order to kind of make your whole squad look, making sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So I'm curious to know what is like your mindset around that, because if you did a bench boost, you have a different mindset, wouldn't you, about your team?
Yeah, it's a very similar situation to when Hots and I were talking about the free hit that he had. When I was saying, would you leave the free hit?
Yeah.
The issue that I've got, and the reason why I'm taking the bench boost seriously, even though I don't think it's going to score me an amazing amount of points, is I'm on a strategy where I need to make sure I'm hitting 5 to 7 points over average, as it stands, in order to get me to a particular game point. So from that perspective, I just need to make sure that everybody on my bench is playing. And assume that the minimum that I'm going to get from them is 2 points, for instance. Yeah. And if they do something else for me, great. That's a Brucey bonus per se. I'm confident in the main team can get me the average, can get me to where I need to be in the game week. But obviously I want to make sure that I'm doing at least 5 to 7 points more than the people around me and the general average anyway. So that's why my head is where it is. So like I say, Malin is a problem for me. The goalkeeping side of things is a problem for me simply because of the fixtures. So for instance, next week, you've got Ramsdale playing United. Am I confident that Newcastle can get a clean sheet against United, particularly as they're playing away? No, I'm not. So I'm not expecting that I'm going to get a clean sheet out of that or 6 points. Like Ramsdale's one of those people that if he has a penalty against him, I know that it's being scored. He can't save them. So you'll probably start looking for pigeons again, that kind of thing. So, and Dubravka he's just a body, right? He's going to get me those 2 points. He's not going to do much else. So
good game though, Everton at home.
Yeah, it's but yeah, for me, I've just looked at it that everybody on my bench, I just want 2 points out of you for this bench boost, and I've got to hope that I can push through with the main team. So the other thing, I guess, so it's quite clear that for me, minutes over the ceiling is what I'll be going for over the 10 days. That's all I need, because in reality, when you look at things, getting through this Christmas period isn't about it's not about winning your game week. It's really about getting into January and still being intact and not losing too much distance with everybody else. So that's kind of where my head is at the moment. I'm expecting on the strategy that I'm at that there are going to be weeks that it doesn't work out for me and that it looks as though the swing's gone against me in some, but the consistency should, as I always say, persistence beats the resistance. So we'll see where we get to, but that for my next couple of weeks, that's where I'll be trying to build that bench. Problem that I've got, like I said, is where I didn't do the money thing. Like you got Malin, who's 5.1. If I wanted to do anything goalkeeper wise, I'd need to sell Ramsdale direct. the direct replacement for him would have been Sanchez, for instance, but Sanchez has gone up. So, for instance, I'm stuck. Hence me saying, well, I've got a full process of this is the minimum I want at the bench. If I get anything more, great. But I've got to rely on the rest of the team too. I guess, and to your point that you made around Saka, I don't expect him to play the midweek game against Crystal Palace. And if he doesn't, that will make me feel a bit more comfortable about the fact that he should play in the Boxing Day or post-Boxing Day games. But long-term wise, yes, you're right. It's going to be a situation where they will try to manage his minutes. I can't see that we're going to see a situation where Saka's going to be playing the full 90 for the next 4 matches. He'll play. He'll probably start all of them, but he won't play full 90.
I was going to say something on the money. So, in regards to the money, at the beginning of the season, I'm always trying to get in the transfers early because obviously when you get in, the players go up, you make the profit, you can sell it and make profit. Yep. But when it comes to this time, when it's quick, fast prices, like I took Fernandes out and he's gone up on the night that he got injured and went up to, what was it? 9-4.
9-4.
Right. So with me, when I'm buying players now, I'm actually doing the opposite. So say like I'm trying to buy someone, I don't mind if they got, because I've got the money, I don't mind if they go up 0.1. So where Guffs has acted early to try to make, get them in before they go up. If they go up, I shrug my shoulders. Because now, if I go and make a move, say for example, I went Ekatike now and he's gone up, I'm buying him for whatever he's gone up to, 8-8. And then if I want to take him out after the next 2 games, I'm getting that 8-8 back into my bank. So once I'm in a position of having money, I like to actually get the players when they're expensive sometimes. So it can work both ways. That's why it's that important to build some money. But I just wanted to point that out because we're in a situation where if I had made my changes early, I wouldn't have known Bruno would get injured. And then I wouldn't have had to potentially make more minuses. So I'm hoping to only do -4 and not be put in a position where if I'm acting too early, I'm having to do more minuses than I want at the moment. So be careful to anyone trying to worry about money too much. You've got to do that more early in the season. If you start doing it at the wrong times, it can also go against you. So don't be too knee-jerk.
100% understand that. And generally for beyond the next couple of weeks, it's clear to me that there are particular teams that you need to target. So for me, the template seems to be there. Like you need to target Newcastle, you need to target Liverpool, City. You also got to go for Leeds. Like these are the teams that have got decent fixtures. And then you've got West Ham. But obviously with West Ham, it's really down to whether they can sort their defence out and their structure can help them through some of the easier games they've got. But we did say this, right? We said with 2 fullbacks they've got going to AFCON, that's a big miss for them. So some of the dexterity that they had is gone, right? So they're now relying on other players that we've not necessarily seen before, or don't even really know their names too much. But yeah, from my perspective, like that's what I can see beyond. But my main focus is tactically, I've got to be focused on the bench boost.
One small point though to yours, Hots, about the price thing. I agree with you in the main, but there are some sort of like special situations, like even with Bruno Fernandes, right? I think he will drop. I would expect him to drop 0.2 over the next week, purely because he is highly owned. So I think when you've got players who are highly owned, and where there've been a lot of injuries and stuff, it's quite volatile in these periods. So you do have to be slightly careful if you're going to hold on to someone like Bruno Fernandes.
So I put Bruno Fernandes in for 9.3. He's got injured and went up to 9.4. So if I held him, he has to go back to 9.3 before I have to get rid of him for the equal money. And I don't make profit at 9.4. So there is no rush in my position. So that's what I'm saying. By not rushing to put him in and waiting, like it gives you the flexibility. If I had made my changes before, I would have been stuck now with an injured Fernandes, and it wouldn't have made a difference for me per se, because the fact that I didn't rush, because I've got money. I've got more than, I think my team balance is more than 104 point something.
Yeah.
So I'm comfy, and I'm only comfy because of what I do. I don't know what your team values are. I haven't really checked, but that's my point.
But you know what? The price volatility as well hasn't really been helped by FPL in general. Like, I don't think they thought through what giving everybody 5 free transfers was going to do to the game and the price points, because like we've seen some ridiculous moves happen within 2 days. Like, I think even you commented previously, Hots, that Foden went up about 0.5 in a week or something like that.
No, the max you can go up in a week is 0.3. But I think he's done it like two in a row. I think he's done 0.3, 0.2, and 0.2.
Yeah.
He's moving. And Haaland as well. He's 15. I can see him being 15.1 potentially. I always think they won't push it, but I can see him being 15.1. Maybe if they continue how they're going, he might be 15.2. So if anyone that hasn't got, no one, I don't believe, though. He ain't 100% on, so people don't have Haaland, but they're mental. Anyone who ain't got Haaland is absolutely mental.
Well, you know, you got those players that just don't like Man City. They're Man United fans, and I'll never have Haaland in my team.
They
get them
don't
people characters.
They don't trying to be winners in FPL. Do you know what I mean?
So I guess it's time for us to look at these fixtures over the festive period and what the biggest fixtures will be. Because there are so many, probably a better way for us to approach this week would be, let's have a look at the big games and also talk through our ideal captain choices for those periods of time. So next week, as in game week 18, what are we looking at? There's 2 big ones, right? So you've got United versus Newcastle, you've got Chelsea versus Villa. From a United Newcastle point of view, it's a strange one, right? They're 2 high variance teams, like kind of like yin and yang, and they both do crazy things. They've got big name assets. Tactically, they're both unpredictable. Like, and always you have people confident in their assets, and probably they shouldn't be. From my perspective, when I've been looking at it, it's like, well, the fixture it's never really controlled. Like, neither one of them really bosses it. They're both momentum swing teams, so they both like transition. Although United haven't got their transition assets. Ahmed's not there, and Bruno's not there. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is not going to be there orchestrating for them, etc., that kind of thing. So I guess when you kind of look at what that means in terms of the outcomes and who you could go for, etc., I think defensive reliability, nope. I can't see clean sheets in it. There is ceiling, but the only ceiling I can see is from there being chaos in the game. So it's who do you go for? From my perspective, obviously, I've already got Gordon. So that's kind of where I'll be hoping to see any kind of upside type thing. But what are you guys thinking when you look at the game? How do you see it panning out?
I think the guy you sold is a good asset to have in this game, purely because when you look at Man United's defence, you know, they're playing with, you know, Euro, Heaven and Shaw, not the most imposing defenders in the world, let's just say. And you got someone like Voltemada, who obviously is someone that is very good in the air, you know, and physical. Well, he's not the most physical, but, you know, he's got an advantage in terms of the aerial ability. And Newcastle do like to get the ball into the box. I think that he could be a problem for United on set pieces and cross into the box. So he's someone that will be interested in this game. I also think that Man United could cause Newcastle issues. I think the system that they play with the 2 wing backs high up, Newcastle's fullbacks do like to sort of press on quite a bit. And I think in that transition, they could be caught out at times with essentially a 5 against 3 Newcastle. So I think this could be a game with quite a few goals. And it's a difficult game to predict, if I'm honest. But I think, look, I would have usually said a Newcastle winning this game because Man United are missing a lot of players. But, you know, I said it earlier in the show, I thought Man United played okay against Villa, and they showed me that they're getting to grips with Amorim's system. And there seems to be a little bit more synergy happening in their squad. So, and I think, the Man United fans are starting to kind of get behind the team a little bit. So I think this could be an interesting game, maybe like a 3-2 Man United or, something like that. But yeah, it's going to be a good watch, a wild game. Chaotic, because both teams, like you mentioned before, don't pass the ball very well. They are both kind of high turnover teams. So I do suspect to be a lot of chaos in this game.
What are you thinking, Hots?
Newcastle victory.
An away win for the team that don't travel well over 75 miles. Fair play.
Yep.
Fair enough. Short and sweet. And the next big game that we've got going on, Chelsea v Villa. What are the general thoughts on that? Where's your head on that, Hots?
That one's a bit different. That one's not so easy. Because I'm stuck between what I want and what I believe. So what I would believe is that Chelsea and Villa will have some tough game, and I'd love for Villa to draw with Chelsea so that they can. But they've on a 11-game winning streak now, right? Is it 11 games or they've made 10? They've made 10. So winning this one will be 12. But I slightly don't want them to lose. So a draw would be perfect. That's where I'm coming from. Okay, you've got 10 wins in a row. You didn't quite lose your record of winning. Losing. So you're on 11 with no losses, but you draw against Chelsea, which is perfect for Arsenal. And then Arsenal tuck you in and get out. And that's what I want. So I slightly want Villa to win or draw so that we can tuck them in. That's the truth. But I think it's going to be a difficult game for both teams. Villa's in the form. If Rodgers can keep up what he's doing, Villa might be able to get the victory, but they're away. And I don't think Chelsea are just going to lay down. So I think central draw is the right score. Maybe a Desmond 2-2, as it's been said. But score draw. Score draw.
What's your thoughts on the game, Guffs?
I'm going Chelsea win. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea because I think Chelsea in the big games at home have been pretty good. I'm thinking back against us, against Liverpool. I know Liverpool being poor, but at that point we were singing, people were singing Liverpool's praises at that point. I think Chelsea have that ability. I said before on this podcast, they can beat anyone on their day. It's consistency which is the issue for them. I think they'll be up for it. I think them resting Enzo was a deliberate thing. I think they want to try to sort of overpower the midfield in this game, and they'll go for their power midfield of Enzo, Caicedo, and probably James in midfield. And I think that could be a problem for Villa. So I think Villa are obviously a good form. I think they come into the game with confidence. I think they'll get a goal. But I think Chelsea with the home fans behind them, I think they'll nick this one 2-1.
Look, to be honest, style-wise, I think that Chelsea could take this. I'm more weighted towards Chelsea winning than I am it being a draw. From my perspective, there are different things I look into with it where I think, I think I even mentioned it earlier. Villa are a very frustrating team to me because they're not very good out of possession. They're not great at the back. They're always giving gifts. They concede a lot. Their XG, their XGC is still quite high in comparison for a team at their level. So I think that what we're seeing with them is just momentum and trend, right? And realistically, you've got Rodgers basically having a Salah moment, where everything he's touching is turning to gold. But Villa concede a lot of possession, and Chelsea will dominate from a possession point of view. So Villa's hope is really structural moments. And it's whether they're really going to allow Rodgers to have enough space to take pot shots like United did. So when you look back at that United game, the shots that United let him get away with were just ridiculous because he's taking a walk in their area and having freebies. So Yeah, for me, I guess Villa is clear that they have attacking triggers, but I don't feel like they have edge in this game. I feel that Chelsea will do what they need to do, and they will probably pull off the win. In terms of what do I look at from an FPL perspective, I can't see clean sheets in this. I can see both teams scoring. So if you've got any defensive assets there, you need to look for some kind of upside out of DEFCON or an attack in return, because I can't see it being that there's a shutout. And it's primed for Palmer to do his thing. It'll be they'll be at home. He performs when he's at home, right? But it's whether he's sharp enough and whether he eats too much turkey over Christmas, right? But outside of that, for me, I think it's a Chelsea win. I guess what it does do is those are the two major games of that game week. Obviously, there are others. What are we thinking captain-wise? Again, starting with you, Hots, where's your head?
So, at the moment, as we've seen, Haaland's form is phenomenal. So, going against Haaland, you've got to be brave. And I don't think many people want to be brave. Everyone's safeguarded because go against Haaland, you might regret it. But Liverpool assets are potentially, let me not even say defensive assets because I keep getting let down by Van Dijk. But like Ekatike right now will be a good alternative if you're brave, because you got Isaac out, Salah away, Gakpo injured, so it's like he's gonna play 90 minutes, and it's Wolves, and they're at home. So if there's a time to try and go against Haaland, and you've got Ekatike in your team, he's a good alternative. It's a good week. But City haven't got a tough team. They've got Nottingham Forest away, so Haaland could still outscore him. That's the problem. So if I was picking, it would be out of them two. There's other Liverpool assets, but I don't know if I would go for any of them over Ekatike right now. So if I've got to say two, like for this game week, it's them two.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Hots. I mean, I think those are the two outstanding picks for me. I think I'm probably going to go Ekatike. It's always dangerous going against Haaland, but look, I think Forest at home under Dyche are a slightly different proposition than they were, 5 or 6 weeks ago. I think Dyche. This is the kind of ball he wants to play, right? He's sitting deep and protect and have a good shape. Over the last 3 or 4 years, Man City haven't blown away Forest. They've had tough games at Forest ground. I think they lost a game up there before. They scraped home during winning the title season. So it's always been a very tough game for them. He might get a go, Haaland, but I don't see him getting major points against Forest, if I'm honest, in my opinion. I think Forest had the ability to hold him up a little bit. So I'm going to go Ekatike.
Season, though. That's the thing. I know he's come in recently, but I'm with you, though. Like you said, Ekatike. Yeah. It's a good week to go against Haaland if you've got Ekatike.
Pretty interesting that we've got a consensus for once. Moving on to game week 19, the big game of that week is one that I can sit out because it involves Arsenal. So Arsenal v Villa. Interesting one for the same reasons that I said before. Villa do give away chances. Ultimately, they end up being quite transitional against an Arsenal, but Arsenal at home probably a different proposition to what they had when they played them away. As you know, we'll dominate territory. We always do, but Villa do at the moment punish any overcommitment. So it'll be an interesting game, I guess. So control the efficiency, fine margins again. Probably a tight game. What's your thoughts?
Arsenal victory. I think after the last game with them, we need to beat them. Hopefully we'll beat them. I can see it being like a 2-1 2-1, 2-0. I'm hoping that we can get more past them personally. I just want, if Chelsea beat them, then their record's been broken. They come against us. We don't let them bounce back after that one defeat. We can make them have another defeat, get them at the top 4. Do you know what I mean? But if they beat Chelsea and they're like buzzing, we have the pleasure of stopping their run of 11. If they draw, then they've stopped their winning run. Now let's give them their first L. Either way, Arsenal need to beat them. And I think we are capable of beating them. And I think we will. So yeah, if I had to pick a score, I know you don't pick scores. I do, so I'll say 2-1, 2-0. Around that.
What's your thinking?
Yeah, I agree with Hots, slightly sort of expanding on these points. I think, for Villa's standpoint, this would be the third of 3 big games for them. Okay, Man United was a physical game. They Man United pushed to the end. They're going away from home now to Chelsea, which would be a tough game for them. Then away to us straight after that in succession. And I think they haven't got the biggest squads in the world. And they're at a point where they haven't sort of played the same players week in, week out. So I think we're probably going to play them at a time where they might be a little bit fatigued as well. So I think that helps us a little bit. I also think that they've had a fairly good record against us at the Emirates the last few years, and I think that'll play on the Arsenal players' mind. I think having lost to them recently in that record as well, I think that will give Arsenal that boost and that kind of extra energy that they need to put it on Villa. And to Hots' point, Arsenal need to win this game, and I think they will. Hopefully by that game point, we'll have a few more players back into the squad. Gabriel is close to getting back to fitness. Jesus is getting stronger and stronger every game week. And I expect that Madueke and Saka will be rotating minutes. So whoever plays that game will come to the game fairly fresh. Touch wood, there's no injuries between now and then, but you'd think that we'd be in a good place. So I'm looking at Arsenal winning that game. And I think 2-0 is what I'm going to go for.
Okay. And what's captaincy choices look like for you?
Boy, City's got Sunderland away. Again, I think it's at a time now where not only have I not been hosting, but I've dropped points and seen red arrows. But I want to go against the grain. Especially when I haven't done minuses. But I'm intending on doing minuses, so it's difficult. But I want to go against Haaland. Sunderland game will be tough because Sunderland are at home. So I'll be looking at Liverpool again. They're at home to Leeds. And United have got Wolves. So United are at home to Wolves. So if you've got Cunha, because I don't think Bruno will be back by then. Could be a cheeky punt with Cunha if he shows the form between now and then. So if you're looking for differentials, Cunha, Ekatike, or obviously Haaland ain't going to care that it's Sunderland at home. So it'll be out of those 3 if I've got those 3 players in my team.
Bez? From my perspective, I guess I just look at it as the profiles of captains, I guess, because God knows what happens after Gameweek 18. From that perspective, you're looking at a Liverpool attacker versus Leeds. And I say attacker because it could be that we start seeing the rise of Verts by that point. And obviously Ekatike is in the mix, so it's more about getting reliable minutes out of people, as you've alluded to before, Guffs. For me personally, I won't go for any Arsenal attackers against Villa. But you'd also look at a City attacker versus Sunderland for the reasons that you've highlighted. From my perspective, I guess looking at it, it's going to be one of those games that you've got heavy rotation, which is the reason why I'm almost clucking it with regards to what do I do with this bench boost. Because if I go for game week 19, it could be that everybody's rotated anyway, so it's just null and void. And And likewise, the same thing could happen in 18. So I've left it really late, which is a bad thing from my perspective. But that's where I'd be looking captain wise. What about you, Guffs?
Yeah, I'm with Hearts again. I think Ekitike is the number one candidate for me personally. You know, especially if he does bits against Wolves, you'd have to think that he's going to be the number one pick. And also to the Haaland point, you know, I mentioned with Villa, they got 2 tough away games in a row. So did Man City, right? Man City are going away to Forest and away to Sunderland. And let's not forget that they got 3 days to then go to Chelsea at home. So I think that, you know, from, you know, Pep likes to rotate and stuff. I think from his mindset is obviously making sure that his best players are on the pitch against Chelsea. So who knows what he might do in that middle game against Sunderland. Sunderland, we've got to respect their defence. I mean, you mentioned before, right? They do not concede goals against anyone, really. I mean, I know we asked what 2 past them, but
if he's going to
stiff.
rest Haaland, because that's what you're looking at. If he's going to rest Haaland and give him a moosh again, I don't see it being against Sunderland. He'll have to do it this week. Because when you say 2 tough...
I don't think Marmoush is around.
Okay, well, if he's going to rest Haaland...
I'm not saying he's going to rest Haaland. I'm simply saying that he might bring him off after an hour or something.
Yeah, but if he's going to do that, you're saying 2 tough away games. Nottingham Forest ain't a tough game for me, personally. I don't care about that. This is why it's a difficult game week if you go against a Ekitike. Say like I'm going to go against Haaland. Say I captained the Ekitike. Haaland could outscore him this week because I don't rate Nottingham Forest's defence just because Dyche is there. But I mean, if you get Sunderland.
I just think that also when Sunderland played Arsenal, the reason why we struggled against them, and there's many reasons, but they match up pretty well to Arsenal in terms of they're good on set pieces. They're physical at the back. And obviously we're good on set pieces, but they were able to sort of like counteract that. And I think the way that they got big guys at the back, they match up. I mean, there's no one that can stop Haaland, but they're probably one of the better equipped teams to sort of deal with his physicality at the back. So I just think that it could be a tougher game for Haaland. Again, it's difficult for anyone to stop Haaland, right? So I don't want to say that they're suddenly the equalizer, but
it's also difficult for them because remember they've got their main boys have gone AFCON. Like, and not being funny, I can't see Ballard being able to stop Haaland. It's it's interesting, but as you both said, like Haaland is Haaland, right? He's a cyborg, so he could do whatever in any game.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things.
If it wasn't for the fact that Liverpool are playing against Leeds, then you probably would say Haaland. But I think when you marry up the 2 situations here, I think Ekitike for me becomes probably just slightly the better pick.
Fair enough. And if we're rounding it off, the next big game is City v Chelsea. What are the thoughts on that? I mean, it's one of those games, like both have got good squad depth, so we can see rotation on both sides. But I doubt we will do for that game because it is a big game. There's going to be tactical respect between each other. And usually their games are tight anyway. So it doesn't feel like it's a captaincy goldmine. Like, I don't look at him and think, oh, yeah, Palmer here or Haaland there for this game because it just feels difficult. I can't call it. I can't see who would I look at on this and say, yeah, they're a runaway. They'll easily take this game. I don't know what it's like for you. I mean, what is your thoughts on this one, Guffs?
Gameweek 20. I mean, this game, Man City at home, Haaland at home. You've always got to put respect on Haaland, especially at home. You know, he generally scores at home. And I know it's Chelsea and a decent team, but quite frankly, it's Haaland at home. So, you know.
That's what we fought against Leeds, though.
Yeah, we did, but I think that Haaland... Yeah, you are right to a certain extent, but I think Haaland is one of those guys that he likes an opportunity to show how good he is. And I don't look at Chelsea's defence and see anyone that really can match up well against him. I think that he overpowers anyone in that back line. And like I said, it all depends really what happens in game 18-19 as well, right? Because one thing that we can't measure, we look at all the different stats, but confidence is the one thing you can't measure, right? And if they come into that game having won 2 games in a row and they're flying and Arsenal drop points, obviously I don't want it to happen, then the whole mindset around the game changes. So I think it's, you know, I would still make Man City favourites for that game. The one caveat I would say is that last year, the year before, Man City beat Chelsea at the City ground, but I remember the first half of that game, Chelsea had a load of chances where they kind of like had quick combinations, got in behind Man City again and again and again. And Man City do like playing a high line. And Chelsea do have those kind of players who are quick and can hurt Man City. Man City can be got out on the wide positions. Nunes and O'Reilly are not very good going backwards. I think Chelsea are particularly strong in those wide positions. So I think Chelsea have the potential of hurting City and creating chances. But I just think overall City at home, you got to fancy them.
But a question for you, right?
Yeah.
So you talking about Sunderland's defence possibly being able to deal with Haaland, etc. But you've just dismissed Chelsea's defence. Like, so you're saying that Sunderland have got a better defence than Chelsea?
I think the structure of the team in terms of how they're set up is kind of the key to their success, right?
No, but I'm talking about it in direct relation to Haaland, because that's what we've been speaking about, right? And you're saying, well, Haaland against Sunderland, you don't think that could work. But similarly, you're saying, well, against Chelsea.
Look, I think, for example, look at some of the goals that Haaland scored, right? He's got a lot of goals recently, eerily, where Mateus has crossed balls into the box and he's kind of scored goals from the back post. Ballard is very good in the air, very strong in the air. And if he matches up to him in those situations, I mean, Ballard can contest and, neutralise those situations, for example, balls in the air. I think where Sunderland can get hurt is obviously pace, because they haven't got anyone at the back that's potentially quick. But I don't think Sunderland will play in a way that will open themselves up to allow Haaland to have those opportunities to run in behind and be one-on-one. So I think the structure in which Sunderland plays, I think, lends itself into be a tough game for Haaland. Man City's pitch is a big pitch, and I think that, it's a bit like Old Trafford. It's one of those pitches that there's so much sort of space. I think he's always able to kind of get room and to sort of make space for himself and create opportunities. And I think it's different, isn't it? You play that.
Saying that City are AJ and Chelsea are coming up there to be Jake Paul, yeah?
Like, I wouldn't go that far.
Pitch.
I wouldn't go that far. Look, Chelsea have got a chance. I think Chelsea will score a goal in that game. But I think that Man City will have too much power in the end for them over the 90 minutes, and they're at home as well. So I just think that they'll have the edge. But Chelsea have advantages in the wide positions though, so look out for that.
So captains, what are you thinking for that week? That's to
me, yeah?
Yeah.
Gameweek's probably the tough one. There's some real interesting matchups in this game week. And because of that, I'm going Haaland. I think, just as I mentioned, Haaland is at home, and I back him at home against anyone other than Arsenal, if I'm honest, because Arsenal are best defence in this league. But I think Haaland is the choice, and I think he will come good and get some points on the board.
What about you, Hots?
I think this City-Chelsea game is going to be a tough game for both. I think that it could be a draw. But if there's going to be a winner, it will be City. I agree that Haaland at home, I'm expecting a goal. Don't know if he'll get loads of goals, but I can see him scoring against Chelsea. There was no real score prediction, but I'm going to do a score prediction, and I'm going to say 2-1 City. That'll be my prediction for the score. And then captain-wise for that game week, I think it depends on what's happened if I go against Haaland. Because if I'm going to go against Haaland for Ekitike, for example, because that's one of the people I've put in, so just make it straight. If I do go Ekitike captain and Haaland outscores him, I don't know if I'm going to keep on wanting to try going against Haaland. I might just think F that, Haaland, sit captain rest of the season, you know what I mean? But if I was looking for an alternative that week, and it depends who you've got on your team, Bowen, if you've got Bowen in your team, that's the week to go for him. He's away to Wolves. We know Wolves is a target team. I feel like
Yeah,
Bowen
good shout.
in that game week will be a good one because, I don't see Haaland scoring loads of goals past Chelsea. It might just be one. And Bowen's got the potential to score at least one against Wolves. So, he's a shout. I mentioned Cunha in the last one, their way to Leeds. If he has picked up the form again, Leeds is another team I like to target. So, some potential there. But by then, if Arsenal have gone on to, they beat Villa, they're going to be feeling themselves. They're maintaining their run and they, potentially Saka. There's alternatives that week, in my opinion.
Yeah, there is.
If you're going against Haaland, there's alternatives. I could go Saka by then because he's due. That's just my view. It's going to be hard to go against Haaland, but if you got Bowen, he'll be my choice. If I had Bowen, I'll captain him that week against Wolves. But I don't know if I like Bowen. So realistically, it's going to be out of Haaland and maybe Saka will be still on my team.
Okay. To be fair, I'll go with the full process on both of you for that. I feel like United may have something to say against Leeds by that point. But I don't have any United assets as it stands. So I can't forecast that, I will go for this player. So if I go from the assets that I've got, like I said, I won't be going for any Arsenal boys anytime soon. But you've always got Haaland and Ekatike. Like against Fulham, I can see advantages that Liverpool will have.
Yeah.
So again, he'd be knocking on my door in terms of me saying, let me go against. But let's see how he does in the next 2 game weeks. I would imagine that most people have gone across to Ekatike, etc. So we'll see what happens. Cool. Looking at our mini league at the moment, just to say, finishing the league top at Christmas is Peaky Blinders. He's having a blinder. He's been there constant for the last couple of weeks and may even be months. There's a few people just behind him, but he's where he needs to be. In terms of our highest risers of the week, we had 2 that finished on 110 points. We had My Own Burst Nightmare, and we also got Dynamo NW. Both scoring 110, like I say, but the biggest riser amongst those was My Own Burst Nightmare. He rose by 10 places, I believe. And as for our positions, the less said about that, the better. New year, new things, new me, new us. So, Slick Rick, how is things? How are we going to get people to like and subscribe with you looking like this?
I'm just here to just get back into the hosting position in the new year.
Man, one bad game week and I'm stressed.
It's not even one bad game week, and it's not even stressful.
You know what I mean?
I've just got my headphones on, got my hood up, and you said Slick Rick, and I'm on a run with it. But
left eye.
That's cool, bro.
Oh,
whatever you want to say, just remember you're bottom out of the 3 of us. So I could be left eye, I could be Slick Rick with a patch, whatever I am.
Listen, he who laughs last.
Well, you lost, so you laughing.
You know?
You're lost, so you laughing.
He laughs last.
bloody hell.
Is it over?
I mean,
Is
it's
it over?
going to be a nice way of,
Is it over?
the show. Like,
Is it over?
It's Christmas.
Exactly, man was just
You don't
chilling.
need to give him you don't need to give him a coal and an orange.
Man's come with a chest and give me 18. It's all blessed.
I ain't got no chest. You came at me.
Man's got the string vest out already in December. That's cool.
How can I be stressed? I'm in a position where I'm focused on trying to get back in multiple money leagues. It's not been the greatest of seasons so far. Cut short our rivalry, which I'm currently winning. It's not good enough. I've not hosted for the last 3 game weeks, which is not something that's happened to me.
May continue.
Which is not something that's happened to me so far this season. Obviously, you're both going to want it to continue, as you just said. It makes sense. Ark's on the rise at the moment. You're still where you've been all season. And I'm trying to get into that double figures like I
Oh,
mentioned.
we're
on
both
the
in a
show.
rise. I'm rising too.
Well, you can't rise from bottom. Get that.
Well, actually, you can. I mean, technically, you can.
Well, you haven't done it yet, have you? Because Ark's still second out of the three of us. So you only rise.
I'm still rising, my friend. I'm still rising.
Whatever makes you feel better. I'm glad.
Yeah, it does.
That's good.
It does.
Whatever helps you sleep at night. But I'm not stressing. So,
Okay.
do you get me?
Right.
I'm just... got my
What you
sleep
been
record.
over the Christmas period?
Family time. That's it. Not really like got plans. Not really going to be doing much. Just quality time, family, munching, drinking, watching my FPL results get better. Hopefully. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Simple.
What about you, Gus?
Yeah, man. I'm good, man. Christmas is here now. Time with the kids. Time to just relax and ease up. You know what I mean? So yeah, just I say it's gonna be relaxing, but you know, I've got 2 young kids and it ain't necessarily gonna be relaxing in my household. Anyone with young kids, you can relate to that. But FPL wise, look, as I said earlier in the show, you know, I've had 2 decent weeks in a row now, so it's just about keeping the momentum going and keeping my foot on the pedal, because where I am in the league is not anywhere near acceptable. So it's one step at a time, and it's about just climbing that league and just trying to make sure that I can get myself in position to strike at the right time.
You have had a good few
So,
weeks though. All banter aside, yeah, I've seen you've had a good few weeks. So it is what it is. I'm not on the front on that. I was talking about.
Do you know what it is? Yeah,
So,
it's like when you're behind, it kind of in some ways it's quite freeing, because you just think like, sure, I can just be aggressive, I can go for it. Like this time last year, I was doing very, very well and sort of top most of my leagues, and it was somewhat a little bit stressful sometimes watching who's behind you, and you have more of a kind of a safe mentality. So, you know, now I'm just going for it and just think, you know what, I might just go all out and try to be more aggressive now and see where it takes me.
we didn't mind to say it this week, so that's aggressive enough. Let me ask you one thing: is there going to be, and this is just obviously there's no pressure, is there going to be any Guffs on the ground over the Christmas or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get out if my wife lets me. You know what I mean? With all the kind of like festive stuff going on with family and stuff. But my hope is to kind of get around to a couple of grounds during the festive period. So look out for that on the relevant streams. So yeah, I'm hoping to sort
I'll
of
have my feet up with my rum punch looking for where you've been.
Yeah.
Like, go out and get my hard over, my bun and cheese. Yeah,
You reminded me bun to get tomorrow. But yeah.
No. I've got to go out for those, you know, cornfields. I'll be there first thing in the morning.
But have you got rum cake though? That's the question.
Huh?
Rum cake? Rum cake?
Nah.
No? Bruv.
No. Not got any yet. But yeah.
Rum cake's in my yard right now. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I need to. There's a good couple of things that I still need to get. We've got a few days. Like, no presents I need to get, but I need to make sure that I'm fully stocked. Need to get the Henny in. Make sure that I've got all the cocktails ready and so on and so forth. Like, sit that whilst I'm watching FPL. But yes, as we come to an end, as you all know, if you're interested in the content, you like what you see, if you're interested in seeing the journey and understanding where we're going to next, like and subscribe, hit the bell that you can see at the bottom. Like, it's much appreciated, and it always gives you time to poke fun at probably Guffs at the bottom. But usually, well, not even usually, unusually, we've had Hots there for a couple weeks. Let's see if we can make that continue.
Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds.